in the physical, in the carnal, but how are they walking in the spirit? How are they in the spirit? Right? They're nothing but the walking dead. Right? You physically alive outwardly, but in the spirit, you a zombie. You dead. You're dead. You'll be you actually a zombie. You're the living dead. Outwardly, you alive and you living, but spiritually, you're dead. Right? But nevertheless, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Chapter 21. So, like I was just saying, a person may be physically alive, but spiritually they dead. Right? What makes you dead? Hey, living in sin. Right? Living in sin and pleasure, hey, rather than living in righteousness. Right? So like Proverbs, I flip past this. Like Proverbs chapter 21. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16. Right? And it reads, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Right? Like I was just saying, right? Now you amongst the congregation of the dead, man. Right? That's because you physically walking, right? You physically living. Hey, in the spirit, hey, you're dead. Right? In the spirit, right? Your spirit, right, is depleted. You don't have the spirit, right? You got the physical, you got the carnal, right? And you walking in this world. When you walk in the ways of the world, you walking in sin. We all know what Romans 8:6-23 said, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, for the wages of sin is death, right? So if you walking in sin, like it said in James 8 chapter 4 and verse number 3, hey, if any man make a friend of this world, right, it ain't enemy to the Most High. And the Most High God, he deal with his enemies, man. He get them gone, right? And he snatches that spirit from you, right? So if you wander out of the way of understanding, you go into the understanding of this world, like it said in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, right? And verse number 19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High, right? When you wander out the way of understanding and you leave the fear of the Most High, you leave the fear of the Lord, right? You gonna remain a part of the congregation of the dead, right? You're gonna be in the congregation of the dead, right? You're gonna be, right, walking amongst a folly, walking amongst them old friends, picking up them old habits, right? That's what you're gonna be doing, because that's what people of the congregation of the dead do, right? They don't care, they don't have no understanding, and neither do they care to seek it out. They're too caught up in their physical, in their carnal ways of life. So they wander out of the way of understanding, right? And the Lord said, you're going to remain there, right? And they physically breathing. They got breath in their lungs, right? They got air in their lungs, right? They walk around, they working out, they smoking the weed, smoking the cigarettes, getting drunk, messing with this woman, messing with that woman. They doing what they want to do. And they may seem like to be thriving in their physical, but in the spirit, they poor. In their spirit, they're dead, right? So just because you physically breathing, you physically seem to be alive, don't mean you alive, right? Don't mean you living, right? Nevertheless, these other precepts that the scripture just said, you know, say, wandering from the way of understanding is a form of spiritual death, man. Basically, it's a form of spiritual death. Right? We go to the book of Matthew, right? Even while they're physically alive, man. Even while you physically say to be alive. It's a form of spiritual death. So in the book of Matthew, chapter 15, in verse number 8. And these are the words of Yahushua, right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 15, and verse number 8. And it reads, "This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me," right? It's not enough just to say, you know what I'm saying? It's not enough just to merely profess, oh, with words that, oh, I'm in the truth, or I love the Lord, right? It's not merely enough just to profess that with your mouth, like, oh, I'm an Israelite, or I'm God's chosen, right? Or I love the Lord, right? Hey, right? Hey, your spirit is going to reflect who you really are, right? Your spirit is going to reflect, hey, who you really are, right? You say your spirit's going to reflect what's on your heart, what's on your act, and it's going to come out into your actions. Didn't it say in 1 Samuel to the 2 and verse number 3? Let me get that right quick. I don't want to misquote it, right? Yeah, Con. Yeah, 1 Samuel 2 and verse 3, right? Real quick. Talk no more exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For Yahweh is a God of knowledge, and by him your actions are weighed, right? So whatever is in your heart, right, it's going to come out on your actions, right? It's going to show who you really are. So you can profess all day with your mouth that you love the Lord, just keep the commandments, right? But guess what's going to be on your heart? And your heart is folly. And your heart is filthy, right? Your spirit is bad, right? And it's going to show out in your actions, right? Not just outward, or not just on your outward appearance, right? It's going to show on what you're going to, it's going to show what you do, right? Just profess and just say, oh yeah, I love the Lord. Oh, I'm in the truth. Oh, I keep the commandments, right? Let me just tell y'all this, Israel. Just because you wear fringes don't mean you righteous. Just because you wear zeets don't mean you're righteous. Just because you keep and perform the righteous acts, it don't mean you alive, right? They don't make you alive. It's by how you sincerely, right, understand this word and you apply this word, right? Just because you keep the Shabbat, right? That doesn't make you righteous. That doesn't make you alive, rather. That doesn't make you alive, right? That doesn't mean you stamped in the kingdom because you do these works, right? You do what's on your heart. These scriptures got to be on your heart. This word has to be in your heart, right? It has to be in your spirit, right? So that way, if it's in your spirit, you constantly meditate on the things therein, it's going to play out in your actions, right? Come on, but nevertheless, we get this in the book of Romans. But it be too long. A few more precepts through the spirit, right? Just been some things that I've just been thinking about, right? People think just because they wake up every morning that they alive. You're not alive just because you wake up. You're not alive just because you're breathing. You're not alive just because you're able-bodied. Doesn't make you alive, right? It's this word. It's the spirit, right? But nevertheless, we get this in the book of Romans. Chapter 8. So I believe chapter 8. God, it's the book of Acts. Salaki, I say Acts. Salaki. It's the book of Romans, chapter 8, and verse number 10. And it reads, this is straight to the point. gonna start at 9. Man, hey, I'm gonna just start at verse 6, just plain, right? Classic. I'm gonna start at the classic. I'm gonna read down to the point. This is the book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So to have a carnal mind, hey, that's just to think, hey, with the flesh, with the world, right? With the desires of this life, right? With the pride of life. Oh, your alarm clock wake you up every morning, right? You could do this, you could do that, you could go here, you could go there, you could walk, you could run, you could jump, you could skip, you could sit down, you could stand up, you could squat, right? You could take a deep breath, you could exhale as much as you want, right? They don't make you alive, man, because you can physically eat, right? No, they don't make you alive, right? To be carnally minded, is death, but to be spiritually minded, like the scripture just said, right, is life and peace, right? That's true life. That's true life, and it's peace, right? Remember, keep reading, right? Because the carnal mind is enmity, right? Because the carnal mind is enmity, right, against God, right? As it said in James chapter 4 and verse 3 through 4, right? It said, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be, right? Because if you carnally minded, right, you're going to go against everything that the Lord said in his word. You're going to go against it because you're going to be going after what your flesh lusts after and desires, right? Which is to be wicked, which is to be carnal, which is to do whatever it feels the flesh wants to do. Your flesh wants to be pleased all the time, right? Your flesh has no holds barred on what it wants to do, right? This is why it said in that the book of Galatians, the 5th chapter, that the spirit lusteth against the flesh and the flesh against the spirit. These contrary one to another so that you would not do what you would. Greatly paraphrasing, right? Because if you're going after the flesh, you're an enemy to the Most High. And those who are enemies to the Most High are those who willfully break his commandments, right? Who willfully go into sin, who willfully commit wickedness and break his laws and dishonor his grace. They are enemies to the Lord, right? But I'm going to read on. It says, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. Because you in this flesh, you physically can't, anything that you do physically, right? Right? And your spirit is not aligned, right? You doing it in the flesh. You can't please God. You can't please the Most High, right? Watching Netflix. You can't please the Most High, smoking weed. You can't please the Most High, right? Getting up on the podium in front of a whole congregation of people and lying. Telling the people that the Lord loves everybody while you're hooping and hollering, running around in a daggone building, you know what I'm saying? Screaming at the top of your lungs, man. Saying you love God. Right? You're physically, you can't, those that are carnal can't please the Most High God. Right? But it says, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so, be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Hamashiach, Christ, he is none of his.